Today I'll be taking up the poem A Tiger in the Zoo by Leslie Norris. First we have the poem for you. He stalks in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet white, in his quiet rage. Rage means unexpressed anger. Vivid stripes means the bright and attractive lines on the skin of the tiger. They are the stripes. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass. Lurk means wait. Shadow here means shade of a tree. Slides is walks secretly in the long grass of the jungle. Near the water hole where the plump deer pass. Water hole may be a pond, lake, river. Plump is fat. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. Snarl means to roar. Fangs usually we refer to a snake, but here the poet has used it for sharp teeth. Claws, you know the claws, hand like with nails. Terrorize means scare. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Concrete cell is the cage. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Patrolling cars, that is the rounds taken by the police. Brilliant eyes refer to the hopeful eyes for freedom. He thinks that one day he'll get freedom. And the last voice referred here is people going back home. Now let's take up the poem. The poem is written by Leslie Norris. It contrasts a tiger when it is in its natural habitat and when it is imprisoned in a zoo. The poet is talking about when the tigers are moving and enjoying freedom in their surroundings and how it behaves when it is imprisoned. When the tiger is in zoo, he moves slowly up and down in the cage. He moves very softly and steadily as his paws are as smooth as velvet. He is full of anger but is quiet because of helplessness. That is what the tiger is missing, the freedom of the jungle. The poet then says the tiger should have been in the jungle. He should have been moving quietly in the shadows near some water source waiting for a plump deer to pass that way. The poet also says that while roaming, the tiger might come to the outer boundary of the forest in a small village. The tiger would roar, growl, and scare the inhabitants of the valley. So, these are all the things he would have done if he would have been in his natural habitat. But he is locked behind the bars in a concrete cell and is waiting for freedom. First stanza. He stalks in his vivid stripes, the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Here, the tiger is in the zoo and is walking in a limited space provided in the cage. It takes a few steps. There are stripes on its body which is quite prominent. Its paws are soft like velvet. No noise is there when he walks on the pads of velvet. The tiger is silent but in anger because the tiger has lost its freedom. The tiger is feeling restless and uneasy in that cage. The tiger is helpless as he cannot come out of the cage, and so he stalks in the cage. What does that show? That shows that he doesn't like to be imprisoned. He longs or desires to go to the jungle and live a natural life. The tiger expresses his anger quietly inside the cage as he knows that being violent would worsen his condition. So, if he would have been in the forest, he would have walked freely without any foundation. He could have caught his own prey and enjoyed his life. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass. Here, the poet wants to say the cage is not the suitable place for the tiger. It is not its natural habitat. The tigers are found under long grass near a stream. It likes to slide through the long grass. Near the water hole where the plump deer pass. So the tiger wants to move around the long grass near a stream because he can meet his prey, a plump deer, and then silently attack the prey and kill them. The poet wants to convey that the tiger would be there in the jungle, it would have been more happier. He would be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. Now the poet says if the tiger would have been in the jungle, he should have been sitting at the jungle's edge in the close neighborhood of some village. And what would he be doing there? He would be terrorizing the people. When the villagers see the tiger, obviously they will be terrorized. They will pass by, and what will this tiger do? It will show its sharp teeth, bare its claws, and produce low sound of roaring. Definitely, the villagers will be terrorized. So, if the tiger would have been in the jungle, he would be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge. He would bare his white fangs, his claws, and terrorize the villagers. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring the visitors. The poet Leslie Norris is full of deep sympathy for the tiger and his plight or condition, because the tiger is imprisoned in a concrete cell. He cannot come out of the cell because strong iron bars are fixed. Thus, the poet says, the tiger's strength is locked behind the bars. The tiger is definitely very powerful, very ferocious, but because of the iron bars of the concrete cell, the strength of the tiger is locked inside. He shows no interest at looking at the visitors. In the zoo, many visitors come, but the tiger is not at all interested. Rather, he keeps on stalking in anger in the limited space of the cage. So the tiger is not interested in entertaining any of the visitors. He is rather ignoring the visitors because he is unhappy to be imprisoned. He hears the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. Now, the poet is telling the readers the tiger is sitting in the cage and feeling helpless and restless. The tiger is hearing the sound of patrolling cars of the zoo authorities and police. Cars are going around, and the tiger can hear all these things in the cage. He shows no interest in them. What is he doing? He is staring at the shining stars with brilliant eyes. So he is desiring to become free. It's a very beautiful poem written by Leslie Norris. The message is, wild animals are meant to live in the wild. They are not meant to be caged and displayed in the zoo. The majestic species of tiger is on the verge of extinction because of cruelty done by the mankind. So we should allow them to live in their natural habitat. They have the freedom like other living beings. If we confine them to the zoo, their life becomes miserable. Confining wild animals disturbs the whole ecological balance. Zoos are essential for the protection of conservation of endangered species. There is no doubt about it. Various species are on the verge of extinction. They need to be protected. But we should try to create natural habitat in the zoos so that they get the feeling of being in a jungle. They should be having an environment to live and flourish. There should be no restrictions, no walls and boundaries for the animals so that they are happy. We should always remember wild animals should be let free and they belong to the jungle. Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Morning to one and all respected Asha ma'am and all my dear friend. Today it's Saturday time we're going to speak on the topic social media. Social media is a fantastic way to get people to express themselves, whether it be a Facebook status, writing on walls, Twitter updates, photos you share. These are all extensions of your personality. They help portray your interest, your views, and help show people who you are. They offer a platform for you to be yourself, to be creative, to be who you want to be, and most importantly, to have an audience for all of this. Unlike in real world where social etiquettes and manners can be seem restrictive and limiting, people feel they have a greater sense of freedom of expressions and of speech while when using online networks. Of course, content is monitored and can be removed, but with billions of users on sites such as Facebook and Twitter, even YouTube, not every single status, photo, or comment can be evaluated, and completely controlled. This has arguably lead to a rise in expressions, feelings, and ideas from people who may otherwise find it hard to portray they themselves how they would like in persons and face to face with others. Essentially, social media has changed the way we are able to communicate and behave, not only in groups and society, but with each other. Thank you, one and all.
Every one of us in life wants to go back to past to change this unbearable situation. Past actions make present situations and present situations make future. Now let's understand what is time travel and what is its effects. Good morning to one and all present over here. Respected Asha ma'am and all my dear friends. Today it's I, K. Praveen, going to speak on the topic time travel. Imagine you are eating a very delicious and rare chocolate, and now you already ate it half. Now you are feeling bad because the climax is the chocolate is going to be over and you can't eat it any further. So you'll think of going in past and eating that chocolate again and again until you satisfy, but sorry, it is not possible. We can't travel in past, we can only travel in future with the speed of light. And now here the question arises, how does the time difference occurs? If we talk about the time traveling towards the future, we all are doing the same thing. We all are traveling towards future with a unit time of 1 hour. Many scientists like Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, they all have written in their theories that time travel is possible only towards future, not towards the past. And in this video, I am discussing about only one of the theory which is written by Albert Einstein, and that the name of that theory is theory of relativity. many decades ago, there was a belief that time is equal and constant throughout the universe. But Einstein told that time is spread throughout the universe with unequal distribution. Because of this, time difference occurs. It is similar like water in the river moving in one place slow and in another place fast. Imagine a train which is going in a constant speed, and the time difference which occurs inside and outside of train is very less. It's very equal to 1 into 10 raised to power minus 4 times, which is very less. Now imagine the same train which is going faster and faster and faster with the speed of light. The surprising thing is there will be a vast difference between the time inside of train and the time of outside of train. Outside of train, the time will be so much speed, but inside of train, the time will be so much slow. So now this is the very biggest and surprising thing which I'm gonna tell you. Okay, now let us imagine a train which is moving with the speed of light for 1 week. After you come out of train, you will recognize that 50 years have been passed away. That's such a vast difference between the time inside the train and time outside the train. Time is invisible, some say this, but the thing is, it's the 4-dimensional.
Good morning, everyone. Respected Asha ma'am and all my dear friends. Today it's I, Cadet Sagar, going to speak on the topic money is a good servant but a bad master. Money is a good servant but a bad master. Well said by Francis Bacon. It emphasizes the fact that money should not be given so much importance in one's life now present what is happening in the world now. One should use their talent and do not run after money at the cost of other things at life. No doubt, money is indispensable in the present world now. It is necessary. It is the money through which we can purchase all the necessary comforts and amenities of life. If you have money, you can obtain what seems impossible to others. It is also the money which gives confidence, credit, worthiness, and also money gives capacity and capabilities. Now, people are not giving more importance to each other than the money. They do criminal cases or any unwanted things just for the sake of money, even though not thinking of their prestige and social status. People just start earning money for the sake of enjoyment without even caring of themselves, their family, or anything about their health also. And they become a servant of money, earning not for the sake of themselves. And the time comes when they are not able to use money for themselves or their happiness. At last, I would like to tell a thought for you all. Life is like an ice cream. Enjoy it before it melts.
Not all present over here, respected Asha ma'am and all my dear friends. Today, it's Akad Alok going to answer the topic, how will be recycling helpful to us? Recycling is very good for our environment. In sense, if we use old and waste things which are no use to us, we can recycle them and turn them into same new things. Since we are saving resources and sending less trash to landfills, this helps in reducing water, air and pollution. In the matter of recycling, we should think about the whole idea: reduce, reuse and recycle. We have been careless up to this point as the way we have treated our Mother Earth. It's the time to change not only the way we do things but the way we think also. United States of Environmental Protection Agency defines recycling as recycling is the process of collecting and processing the trash thrown into the landfills into same new things. Recycling can benefit our community and environment also. We should recycle because recycling helps in keeping environment clean, reduces the amount of waste produced, helps in conservation of non-renewable resources, and saves energy and thus avoiding the energy crisis. And there are many more benefits of recycling. With each day passing, our population is also increasing. If the population is also increasing, the waste so produced also increases. The waste produced increases, then it needs the more amount of space to dump this waste. As growing population increases, we need space to live and to grow what we eat by the means of agriculture. If that all the space is taken up by this waste, then the survival of humankind would be very difficult. It is believed that for approximately 40 million of newspapers leads to the equivalent of 500,000 of trees ending up in the landfills every week. At last, I want to say that be mindful to what you do, pay attention to what you buy, and always check and see if you need those items or it comes with a less package of waste. We can do all our part and we will make a huge difference. Thank you and all.